Guys, what's going on? And welcome into the stream. Happy Friday. It's going to be a great day. We got some college football, a couple games. Got one NFL game tonight. We have one Major League Baseball game going on right now. And we got a large slate of Major League Baseball games going on tonight as well. So, as people start to filter in, there is one thing that I want to talk about. Now that the first game, and what's up to everybody? Appreciate everyone in the chats right now. What's going on, Bracken, Recrap, Mac, Trent? What's going on, guys? So there's something that I want to talk about real quick for a minute or two that I think is really important. Now that the first NFL game has concluded, I thought that last night's game, what I'm about to talk about, it describes last night's game perfectly. If you are new to sports betting, or maybe you're new to just, or it's been a while since you've bet the NFL. What I'm about to say, this is one of the most important things that I'll ever say about sports betting, hands down. Sports betting is unpredictable. It's unpredictable. Don't shy away from it. Embrace it. Don't ever think that you know, because you don't. Things are crazy unpredictable. And last night's Cowboys-Eagles game was a perfect example of of being unpredictable. So let's take a look at this box score, okay? First half was an absolute track meet. Teams couldn't be stopped. I thought at halftime, there was 41 points scored at halftime. Over under, depending on where you got it, was 48 or 48 and a half pregame. There's 41 points scored in the first half. Every possession was a score, some type of points. Looks like they were going to score 80 points last night, okay? Then what happens? Unpredictable shows up, okay? First off, unpredictable showed up in the first half. Who would have predicted 41 points in the first half? It's not a college game. It's an NFL game. Jalen Carter gets ejected before the game starts. That was kind of hilarious. I think it was a vet move by Dak, a little vet-savvy move. Then all of a sudden, Eagles get a field goal. Cowboys are driving down the field. Miles Sanders fumble. Next thing you know, Mother Nature, unpredictable, shows up. Game gets paused. A little bit of rain comes down. And the next thing you know, there's 3 points scored the entire second half. If we're sitting at halftime and I would have sat down watching the game with you and told you, yo, bro, this under 48 is a lock, is a guarantee. This under 47 is a lock. You would have looked at me like, I'll take that action all day long. So for everyone out there that thinks they know, or they can oh no, you don't know. You have no idea. Embrace that things are unpredictable and you're never quite out of it, right? You're never out of it. So if you bet the under last night, and I had a great time live betting the unders. Had a great time. Things are unpredictable, right? Yes. Do we need a lightning storm and Mother Nature to come in? Yes. But that's what happened. And final scores, 24-20. So just something that I wanted to touch on before we jump into it is things are very unpredictable. And you need to keep that in mind as a sports bettor. It's never, if you're betting the over, it's not a guaranteed lock, even though it looks really good at halftime. So important, just kind of important to know. What's going on, Orty? Ron, what's going on? Recrap, yeah, that's a tough hook, man. That's definitely a tough one. So, all right, I was looking at, I think, this Boston College game earlier. I can't remember what's going on. But let's take a look at DGF first. Then we'll jump into some other things. But we got a lot to unpack right now. Man, we'll take a look at the live betting for the Cubs-Nationals game. I know the Cubs are smoking them right now. It's like 6-0. Okay, so 6-pick entry over on, Underdog. Again, living in Arizona, I have a tough time. I can't play any college props. So I would really like to play this 3-man slip down here, but Mason Jones, I can play that one. Trey, I can play. Okay, I might be able to play this 3-man slip down here. Let me see. Yeah, these are all UFCs. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to pull this off to the side, Underdog. I'm going to pull it off, and I'm going to kind of cook up this 3-man slip because I can play this one. But would love to hear what you guys thought of the game. I thought the Cowboys had a real legitimate chance of pulling it out. And Unfortunate that they couldn't do it. Mason Jones under 3.5 takedowns. But, you know, and I decided, not that anyone cares, but for my fantasy team, I decided to bench. I drafted Dak, and I benched him last night. And in the first half, I mean, he actually didn't do very well. He just got some yards. By the way, CeeDee Lamb, dude, tough. Tough one being CeeDee, that's for sure. And then this Borrello. Okay, Borrello. So we got some UFC fights tomorrow. We'll take a look at the UFC card, too. I have a couple bets on them, on a couple of different guys. We're looking forward to that. So we got a lot going on. All right, so this is going to be a standard entry. I'm going to throw in $50. Let's confirm it, and then I'm going to share it with you guys. Okay, you're going to share the link down here with you guys. Oscar, buenos dias, mi amigo. Or I should say buenas tardes. I don't know how to say sombrero, even though it's not a sombrero. No sombrero, but este hat is muy bien. So if you guys don't know, I was in Obregon, Mexico over this past weekend for Labor Day weekend. Went and saw where the Obregon Yaquis play. This is an Obregon Yaquis play. They're part of the Mexican professional baseball league. It's a fire cap. I will say that. It's fire. So, and appreciate Oscar, who I got to hang out with. He got it for me. So, muchas gracias, senor, for the hat, for the para este sombrero. So, there we go. There we go. I mean, there's always, Darius, love to hear that for you, man. There's always two sides to this, right? There's always one side where, you know, one guy's going to make money based off of the CD drops and the other guy's going to lose money. That's also sports betting in general. So just shared this 3-pick slip on Underdog. Again, guys, these are parlay-based types of plays. We're going to click the one-click bet feature over here on PrizePicks. It's going to load up for me. There we go. So, you know, you're going to deal with a lot of variance, especially when we're dealing with like 5- and 6-pick entries. We're going to play this as a 5-pick flex. Now, on Underdog or PrizePicks, I can play collegiate player props. Max I can bet's $5, but we'll share that with you guys. Also, if you want to hit, I should have hit this Lamar Jackson play up. The next slip that we'll make, we'll hit up the Lamar free square. By the way, a slip that we created a couple days ago, this is looking pretty good. We hit the first 4. So need Wandale to get under 4.5, Jared Goff under 32.5. We take $5, turn it into 125. That'd be pretty dope. That'd be pretty nice. So let's go ahead and share the lineup here, and I'll throw this in the chat with you guys. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same as you, KB. I can't bet collegiate player props straights, but I can on PrizePicks. We want to make sure that if you guys, you know, if you want to copy that, remove one of the picks and add Lamar, that's fine. Also, you know, another really profitable strategy is playing like a 2 or 3 man power on PrizePicks and taking the free square, right? So you could do that as well. Also, our better slips that we created the last couple days, all of them are alive and very well. I can't play collegiate props, but that's okay because we're not going to have collegiate props on this slip. So nice. Let me go over to better and I'll cook this one up as well. We're obviously kind of copying Mason Jones, guys. So if you don't want to play the Mason Jones play, I understand, you know, because it's, you know, you're adding variance. Normally I'll play him on 2 different slips. That's kind of my max. So we're going to play him under 3.5 takedowns for UFC. And then we're looking for Josh Allen and the Bills. I already have him on one other slip to not throw an interception, but I'll add him again. Typically, guys, you know, if you're thinking, you know, figure out what 1 unit is to you, what you would put down as 1 unit. I would play these slips, especially these 5- and 6-pick slips, at 1/10 of a percentage, up to 1/4%. So 1/4 of 1 unit or 1/10 of 1 unit. That would be what I would put on these slips because, again, they are very, you know, there's a lot of variance here. Acuna, not talking about Ronald, under on his singles. So we got singles here less. Cool. And then what else we got? We got Del Pitt. This is going to be NFL for the Bengals and Cincy. I'm sorry, Bengals and Cleveland. Over 6.5. Okay. And then we got Merrill Kelly, Rangers, and the Astros. Under 1.5 walks. All right, we're going to throw this up, and then I'll share this with you guys as well. So 5 pick. So, all right, so we got an underdog slip, we got a prize pick slip, and now I'm going to share with you guys this better slip as well. So we got some things going on. Lot to talk about. But so far, over on Better, I'm not playing these for a ton of money, but we got some good ones here, right? We got some greens, all greens, 2 greens on this one. Green, that's the DAC free square. We got this one over here. So we got some nice things happening. Again, guys, I'm not playing the Better slips for a ton of money. But if you guys want to copy and paste, copy and paste. Let's click generate once more. Again, so the idea here behind this tool, guys, is it just searches and scans all the available lines that are out there, and then just shows us the plays where we're getting a really good price compared to the rest of the sports betting market. That's all this is. If you guys want to rock a 6-pick entry on Rebet, again, this is Prop City, so Bovada, BetOnline, BetDSI, MyBookie, XBet. You can copy these slips, Bet Any Sports. They're not Bet Any Sports right now. They're called Bet Anything. But you can copy this. This is Prop City, Props Builder. So you can copy those as well. Hard Rock, Trent. We'll get there in a minute, brother. We'll get there in a minute. Rick, what's going on? Sorry I missed you there, Rick. You can look there, Trent. I will say this, Trent. If you wanted me to move to go to Hard Rock right now, the quickest way to do that is to become a channel member. For my channel members, like Rick and Orty, if they ask me to go check a play out or do something, I do it on the spot. That's a perk of being a channel member. I have 2 different offers, $1.99 a month or $4.99 a month. If you take the $4.99 a month, you become an OG and you get early releases to my content. But if you want to steer the stream in a direction that you want to see picks right now, quickest way to do that is become a channel member. That's one of the perks that you get becoming a member of the channel and a supporter. So I appreciate you guys supporting me on the stream and just showing up every day. But, there's other ways that you can go about it as well if you want to see certain plays right now. That's how we do it. All right, 3-pick power. Here's what I would do for this 3-pick power. We already got the Porzingis play. And then what I would do is that maybe I would remove this tight end for ASU, right? And then I would just add Lamar. And then I would add Lamar like this. And obviously I want to bet, $25. But they're probably not going to let me do it. No, so the max that I can do is $5 a day. So, because even if I try to do $10, yeah, the most I can do is $5. So, okay, we're gonna play this for 5. Orty, what's going on, my man? Always happy to have you. Happy to have the channel members in the chat hanging out. I know it's a little different stream today, guys. We will be starting on Monday, going to 2 streams a week. I know I announced that earlier on Twitter a couple days ago. So there's that 3-pick slip on PrizePicks. Again, really tough to see there. But if you want, add Lamar the free square, you add these other 2 plays. You can mix and match if you just want to play it a 2-pick. It's usually a really strong play is trying to find one play that has positive EV, mixing it with the free square, and, you're going to put yourself in advantageous positions. Okay, let's go over to the optimizer over at OddsJam. And we'll first take a look at Dabble. We'll see if there's any Dabble value out there. Natasha Cloud, points, rebounds, and assists, under 20.5, minus 121. I don't mind this. You can see FanDuel's at 19.5, minus 118. So we're getting an extra, while we're paying an extra 3 cents in price, we're getting an extra point or rebound or assist here. I really like this play. I think FanDuel's fairly sharp when it comes to WNBA player props. You can see that MGM and Caesars all fairly agree with this. So to get this at 20.5 is a good play. I like the play on Natasha Cloud. Obviously, I like to see more sports books have their opinions, right? No pinnacle odds here. So I'm really leaning on FanDuel or BetOnline, but I'm really now leaning on FanDuel for their odds. So, again, this is looking at a 5-pick entry, no insurance, minus 121. So whatever slip that you like to play on Dabble, PrizePicks, Underdog, click the drop down. This is telling you the odds that you're receiving per play. And that's all based off of what you're getting paid out, right? If you play a 2-man entry and you put up $100, you're going to get paid out X amount. And that's based off of then OddsJam calculates it as you're getting minus 136 odds for each of those 2 legs, right? So for here, these are 5-man entries with no insurance. They're the best in terms of odds. But if you want to see the least amount of resistance in terms of variance, I would just play 3-mans all day, no insured. no insurance. That's really where I'm moving to now, guys, with DFS. It's going to be 3-mans all day long for underdog prize picks. Underdog prize picks and better. Or underdog dabble and prize picks, 3-mans all day long. Bettors. Better is really, there really isn't a great option with better unless you play 4-man, no insurance. That would be the next best, but probably 5-man, no insurers, somewhere between 4 and 5. That's kind of the tough part. But you can see there's a lot of value here right now. And with the live feature, we could see the Javier Assad live feature. If you just want to live bet these guys, you can do that as well. I would highly recommend, though, I would prefer to see Pinnacle's odds here because Pinnacle's goated when it comes to live, or FanDuel. FanDuel would be really nice if we could get them live. Otherwise, no offense to DraftKings, DraftKings isn't very sharp when it comes to live betting. They're just really not. So, but this is where we can go with better and look at some plays here. We'll pull up DraftKings pick 6. 3-man entries, no insurance. We got some opportunities here. So we might be firing up some DraftKings plays. Okay, number 1. Right here with Bryce Young. So this is like an 8-cent difference because all the books have his passing attempts at 31.5. We're getting this at 32.5. I still like this on a play. Joe Burrow, you can see these are all passing attempts. So one thing that you want to keep in mind, this could be a really fire market that you could do really well in, or it might not be. But the fact is that we have to pay a little extra juice. And as you can see, Pinnacle has the under 36.5 at minus 127. We're going to get the under 37.5 at minus 122, an extra passing attempt. For any of you guys that got hooked last night by Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott on either passing attempts or passing completions, if you could have one extra one in your pocket, would have been really nice, right? So that's a really big deal when you're looking at Joe Burrow. You know, sometimes it's not the case. Burrow might throw the ball 55 times or he might throw the ball 28 times, but getting that one extra can sometimes be a real big difference between winning and losing. Now, for Baker Mayfield, this is under 34.5. Pinnacle's at 32.5. FanDuel's at 33.5. So I definitely like these plays if you wanted to play a 3-pick with no insurance. If you wanted to play a 2-pick entry with no insurance, then I would just go with these 3 guys again. 2-pick slip, no insurance, right? That's what I would do in this scenario. No doubt about it. But the next best play would be 6-pick entries. I would really, guys, just stick with 3 and 2 picks on underdog. Orty, no. If you see books like MyBookie or Bet365 sometimes disappear from OddsJam, it's not that they're gone forever. It's just that, from my understanding, that when OddsJam is scraping for those odds, sometimes these books might change the way or process the way to pull their data. And so I would just say that OddsJam's currently under maintenance, figuring out the ways that they can pull the odds and data. I'm not tech savvy. I don't have a background in any of this. It might be really simple. Maybe it's not. But that's my understanding. So Bet365, MyBookie, BUSR, XBet, they will be back. I don't know when, but they didn't disappear forever. This happens from time to time with certain sports books. This has happened in the past with MyBookie, where they've kind of disappeared for a couple days or a week or two, and then they've come back. So that's how I would interpret it as right now when it comes to those types of books. Good question, but no, they're not gone forever. They're just, I would say it's just OddsJam on their back end trying to figure out how to scrape the data and get those odds. And again, that's way above my pay grade, but in terms of figuring out and understanding it. Okay, well, let's move on for the moment because we've taken a look at quite a bit of DFS. Let's go over to some ARBs. Let's see what we got for some ARBs. There we go, Rich. Appreciate that. Josh Allen, free square. Josh Allen, free square. Let me zoom in on this. This is a little, there we go. That's a little better. Okay, so again, when we're looking at the ARBs, we're looking at the settings, the filters, right? Everything, guys. This is pre-match. Games haven't started yet. So we don't have anything for the minimum. We have 10% for the max. In my opinion, anything that's above a 10% ARB that's pregame most likely is a mistake made by the sports books. And if you guys are new to arbitrage betting or new to sports betting and you're loving arbitrage, trust me, if you find a 20% or 15% ARB pre-match, It's most likely a mistake, and the sports books will punish you for finding that mistake. Remember, out of all the hundreds of thousands of different odds that are out there between all these different sports books, we are locating the handful of plays, or in this case, there's 953 plays that are available for arbitrage. It's like literally less than 1% of the plays that we are finding. So when you pick off an arb that's 15%, the books are going to realize that it was a mistake, and they're going to say, such and such, we're going to want to keep an eye on their account, or they're going to give you a slap on the wrist and limit you. So in my opinion, to fly under the radar, because that's what I'm trying to do here, is help you guys fly under the radar for as long as you can, keep this under 10% for pre-match. Now, I do have the next 7 days. Okay, you could do a custom date range. Let's go from Friday to Sunday, right? We just want to look at those types of arbs. And DVIG settings, I like to use Pinnacle. You can use OddsJam's recommended book weights. That's fine. But if I find a pre-match arb to Pinnacle, I'm just going to place the bet as a single straight wager on the recreational sports book. So if Pinnacle's here and there's an arb to DraftKings, I'm just going to place the bet on DraftKings, because typically finding arbs to Pinnacle with a recreational book, you just want to bet the rec book side all the time because it's a very profitable strategy. Markets, the only thing I'll say is I'll just click off alternate markets. They're low liquidity markets, and so I don't want to really go after those. Now, there's some books here in Arizona that I have access to. Some of them I don't, right? But I just pull them all up so that you can see that if you're new, like I can't bet on SportsZeno right now. I can't bet on ProfitX anymore because they're not available in Arizona. But if you live in another state that you have ProfitX and SportsZeno, then Logan Diggs could be an opportunity for you. Ashton Genty, this is a Bet Rivers Desert Diamond, guys. We talked about this. As you can see, Desert Diamond, Bet Rivers, Ballybet, Bet Parks, they're all the same odds provider. So this would be a really good play matching up with Hard Rock, right? Hard Rock's only available in Ohio and Florida and Arizona and maybe one other state. But Hard Rock's a great time. Really easy book to make money on. This is over a 5% return. So if you're looking at Genty, he's either going to get, 18 carries or more or 17 carries or less. So one of these bets is going to win. One of these bets is going to lose. We don't know which side. So if you invest $170 in this play, you're either going to get back $185.50 or $175.76. So you're making either $5 or $10, $15, no matter what happens. The more money that you can invest in arbitrage, the more money that you can make. It's really simple. You're day trading the books, taking advantage of their discrepancies in price, and you're just taking your profits, and then you're rinsing and repeating this strategy again and again and again and again. And that's all that it is. It's the easiest. It's how I started sports betting 4 years ago. I signed up for OddsJam literally 4 years ago and just started doing this, and it's great. Now, these plays aren't going to stay out here forever. Here's an opportunity between Props Builder and FanDuel. Honestly, this is probably a mistake by Props Builder, right? You could see 3 other sports books have this between -127 and -148. In my opinion, I'm not going to touch this play on Props Builder, okay? Because it's most likely a mistake. Anytime the over and the under, you can get plus odds on the over and the under, that's a really good sign. That's a guaranteed way to lock in some profits. But otherwise, I'm just not going to touch it, right? Because it's probably a mistake. The good thing with Props Builder, like we talked about, is there's about 10 global sports books that you can go trade this play on. Ordy, do I recommend large bets or a lot of smaller bets for ARBs? I recommend, it depends on the market. If you're betting player props, I would keep it under $250, $200. If it's mainline markets, I'd bet as much as I possibly can, right? Because you have to understand, guys, and it's a good question, Ordy, for those of you that are new, and I'm going to take a little bit more time explaining arbitrage. So we're going to get into the player home runs and player strikeouts. This might be an hour and a half stream. But it's important to know because there's a lot of people that sports betting's back for those who know, who know. But like these player props, you're not going to be able to wager $1,000 consistently on Hard Rock on Ashton Genty overs. Okay. Now you can on ProfitX because ProfitX is an exchange. ProfitX doesn't care how much money you wager on player props. But the Desert Diamonds, the Bet Rivers of the world, you're not going to be able to wager $800 and just keep firing those off. These books are not equipped for it. They're just not. There's not a large enough market. Now, if we're talking about the money line play on the Raiders and the Patriots, then yeah, I mean, Pinnacle's probably taking somewhere between $30,000 to $50,000 on the money line. So if you can find an ARB for a money line, which most likely you're not on this tool, you're going to see a lot of player props. So keep your wager sizes under $250, right? So $249. Because some sports books, when you bet $250 or more on player props, it's going to trigger a review by the trader that works for the sports books. Remember, there are real humans that work for all of these sports books that sometimes when wager sizes get high enough, they have to then, it gets flagged and then they have to review it. And then when they review it, they're going to review your account, right? So while there's algorithms that are creating these odds, there are real human beings that work at these companies that if you place a large enough wager size, they're going to take a look at your account and they're going to look at your activity and your history and your closing line value and what you bet on and when you bet on. So sometimes when you're wagering on certain player props that are kind of really niche, weird markets, you know, this can prompt a review. So keep your wager sizes for player props under $250 per side. That means if we're going after Justin Herbert and we're getting both of these at plus 100, plus 240 odds, so let's go bet 240 then on this side and bet 220 on this side. And don't bet 218.18. Okay, no casual sports bettor bets $218.18. So you might have to sacrifice $1 or $2 of profit. Remember, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. So bet this at 220, sacrifice $1 or $2 of profit, and look like you're a more casual bettor. Or what I like to do is say maybe I go 225 and I bet 205, right? Or I bet 200, right? Because that's a little bit more realistic when we start to get to the 200s, the 400s. Don't bet $237. Nobody does that, right? So that's what I would say. What's going on, Irish? Yeah, that's what I would say for sure, right? Yeah, props builder just saw that they are now live for. I mean, I didn't take a look last night in terms of looking to live ARB, but there might be some opportunities to live ARB with props builder and some of the rec books when it comes to NFL player props. I'll be a little busy tonight, but that'll be something I'll look into on Sunday in terms of, if there's a viable option. Obviously, if you guys don't know, live arbitrage player props for FanDuel, DraftKings, ESPN Bet Flip, and Props Builder was a gold mine when it came to the NBA. Could be possibly another scenario like that for the NFL. So could be a lot of fun. So like we talked about here with Herbert, this is an ARB to Pinnacle. So I would most likely look to just bet Herbert tonight over on his rushing yards over at ESPN Bet. And as you can see, ESPN Bet changed their odds because it's a live market. So that's how it goes. Also, guys, when you click into this play like on Quentin Johnston, the play automatically gets pinned to the top. You're going to see a little 3-second refresh. OddsJam is checking to make sure that this play is still alive and well. So there we go. All right, let's take a look at some EV because, I'm in on the EV. So we're going to look at some player home runs. My buddy, Ballpark Pal. I'm going to tell you guys right now some really good hitting conditions today for player home runs. Coors Field, Oriole Park, Steinbrenner Field, Great American Ballpark, Yankee Stadium, Angel Stadium. There's the Cubs games going on right now, so you can disregard Wrigley Field. But there's some, unless you want to live bet, the boost on DraftKings. But honestly, it's too deep in the game. I wouldn't do it. But these are going to be ballparks that we're going to want to focus on. So the recipe for success when betting player home runs is to find a play that has positive expected value on OddsJam's tools, and then look at ballpark conditions that are, the wind's blowing out, or like Coors Field. It's one of the best places to hit a home run. That's the recipe for success. Obviously, I'm going to mention this pretty much in every stream, but guys, it's time to bet. It's time to go. Use code Billy35. You're going to get a 35% off your first month, and you're going to get a 1-week free trial with OddsJam. Make sure that you tell the fine folks over at OddsJam that you want 1 week of platinum for free. Tell them that Billy told you that you can get 1 week of platinum for free, and you're going to be able to live bet. You're going to be able to live ARB. You're going to get access to the global sports books like Bovada and Bet Online. It's going to be a really good time. All right, let's look at the I don't really mess around with percentages too much. We're going to start with Pinnacle, and we're going to look at additive, and then we're just going to kind of set this up for baseball, and we're going to look at some player home runs. This is one of my, where the hell is Major League Baseball? I feel like I'm losing my mind right now. Am I losing my mind? There it is. This has been one of my most profitable markets this year. It's not even close. That and pitcher strikeouts. That's why all I do is bet these markets. Again, guys, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you know that you're crushing baseball on one particular market, then why the hell would you bet anything else other than that market? Like if you're doing really well this football season betting player receptions or first half total points and you have an 8 or 10% ROI, keep betting that market. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just rinse and repeat. Sports betting is really simple when you're using a tool like OddsJam and their software. Just go after the same plays. You know, I understand that there's going to be a lot of, this, and this. But if you know that you're doing really well betting into DraftKings or MGM on certain markets, then beat the living wheels off that book and just bet that market. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got here. Guys, if you are finding any insight or value in the stream, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are nearing 7,500 subs. I'm giving away $75 to 7 people on the 7.5K day stream. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal are all open, so make sure to subscribe. Pete Alonso, going deep against the Reds. We talked about Great American Ballpark plus 18%. That's not too bad. Mike Trout, I like the Mike Trout play. You know, the Rangers game, it's going to be a closed stadium for the most part, so it's neutral hitting conditions for the most part. And what else do we got here? So I'm really in on the Alonso and Mike Trout play. We talked about Oriole Park, so I like this play for Teoscar Hernandez. Lindor, I like that. Soto, I like that. And then that's pretty much, and then obviously Jose Ramirez. It's a low edge, but not bad, not bad. So this is where we're going to go over. Now you can see that MGM and Ballybet provide a lot of value. So when we look at like Mike Trout, not bad over at FanDuel. If you guys want to play this at FanDuel, that's fine by me. Desert Diamond are at 325, so I'm going to play this over at FanDuel instead because my Ballybet's pretty cooked. $10 wager over on Caesars pays out $30.50. Same $10 wager at Ballybet pays out $35. That's an extra $4.50 in your pocket by placing just a $10 wager. Naturally, if this was a $100 wager, we're talking $290 in our pocket over at Caesars. We're talking $350 in our pocket over at Ballybet. That's an extra $60 just by going over to Ballybet. So if any of you guys have buddies out there that tell you that they just like to bet with DraftKings because DraftKings, they're barstool guys, they're idiots because they're literally losing money every single day by looking at the entire sports betting market. So I'm going to log in over on FanDuel right now. And we're back to my personal FanDuel, which is, the limits they're not great, but they're still usable for sure. So the best thing about FanDuel is that you can still get some action in over there. Okay. So let's go over to Major League Baseball. 6-2 game right now. Interesting. And we're looking at Mike Trout. And I also just don't tell you guys what to bet. I actually put my money where my mouth is. So let's put this in at 340. OddsJam's telling me about $30. I'll drop this. I'll knock this up to 50. What's the max wager size here? 176. Interesting. Okay, there we go. Mike Trout. There we go. By the way, betting over at FanDuel, live betting's been a really good time for me. I'm kind of bragging here. Did lose the Eagles spreads, but then hit this Lynx play, hit this under here, lost the first half under, but then we've been having a good time. I've been having a really good time betting over at FanDuel recently. FanDuel's back, man. I love FanDuel. Absolutely goated. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click into FanDuel, 340, and we're just going to tape this for $50. There we go. Real deal. I mean, so to answer your question about offshores have never been legal, ever. It's not. Now, here's what I will say. Offshores should not be allowing a U.S. citizen to sign up with their sports book, okay? Because, and that's all I'll say about that, right? But, before sports betting was legalized in 2018, you shouldn't, back in 2006, if you wanted to sign up with Bovada, Shouldn't have been doing that. But people do. So this isn't anything that's new. I know that there's a lot of cease and desist orders coming down from Arizona in terms of, rebet and thrills and I'm sure and fliff. But in terms of Bovada, like back in 2010, you shouldn't have been using them in the first place. So it's really been the status quo. Nothing's really changed in my opinion in terms of that. The difference is, though, if you live in Arizona and you want to sign up with Bovada now, you're not going to be able to based off your location. So hopefully that helps answer the question for you. But again, when it comes to legal stuff like that, man, like I'm on a live stream, I really can't talk about it too much. Not because I know anything, it's just because this is a recorded video that's on the internet. So, I got to make sure I'm careful of kind of what I say. Pete Alonso over half a home run at plus 245. So this is really a Bally. Okay, plus 230. It's not good enough there. But this is really a Bally bet only play. There we go, Irish. There we go. Irish, appreciate you saying what I really couldn't say. Irish just said it. That's exactly what I would like to say. Thank you, Irish. Appreciate that, man. Jared, yeah, I just use the sportsbook screen, man. Use OddsJam's tools. Sportsbook screen. I use the Plus EV tool. That's basically how I do it. What else? What other ones? So I can't, my Bally bet, I'm not going to be able to hit that one up. But the Alonso play, if you have a Bet Parks or Bally bet, that's a really good play. And then we got the Lindor play, and then we got the Soto play. And again, as you're going to see, we need odds really above. You can't see because my head's in the way. So apologies about that. We need odds above plus 361. And if you have a boost, guys, that a sportsbook's offering a boost, that's great. Can't get that Lindor play, but I would highly recommend it. The Soto play, we need above plus 285, and it's not really there. Now, if you want to place a bet on a book like a Bet Rivers, where you're getting a slightly worse price, I'm okay with it because the hitting conditions are really good. Ramirez over at BetMGM, this is a very low edge, but again, the hitting conditions are awesome down in Tampa, so I'm okay if you want to go after this one as well, but it's really going to be only for BetMGM. That would be it. Okay. Other things that you guys can do if you don't want to go after Pinnacle, you could go over to the DVIG settings. You could go to OddsJam, recommended book weights, and then what I would do is I would just type in, one game that's really got great hitting conditions, like the Reds game. Okay, I would do that. I would say, the Yankee game, same thing. You could just kind of see different guys. And what you're going to notice is Bally Bet shows up a ton, and BetMGM. But if you guys have access to the exchanges, you should be using the exchanges and just creating home run props over there and seeing if your order gets filled, right? So if you're limited on Bally Bet, still look at that Bally Bet play. But if you have access to No Vig or Profit X, go over there and create a home run prop and see if your order gets filled. That's the next strategy. There's always an angle, a way that you can skirt around the roadblock. There always is in sports betting for the most part. That's what I would do. John says, I'm currently doing ARBs and live ARBs. I'm not sure whether it is the end goal or is to go positive EV where I can. I mean, it just depends, John. You're gonna run into the same thing that everyone does. You get used to winning every single day, and you're like, oh my God, if I have one losing day, how am I gonna live? And so I'm gonna say something that's a little controversial. And listen, the arbitrage bettors. I started out arbitrage betting, so I consider myself an arb better. I love arb bettors, but to be brutally honest, arbitrage betting isn't sports betting. You're just day trading the books because there's really very little risk. I always get a huge laugh out of arbitrage bettors that end up getting one-sided, and they go, what do I do? And I think to myself, welcome to sports betting, because that's what sports betting is. It's risk, right? Arbitrage betting is just day trading, and it's an incredibly powerful strategy that you can make a lot of money on, right? But if you don't like risk, then just arbitrage bet. But, when you start placing one-sided bets, that's actually sports betting. Welcome to the arena that is sports betting, where you're taking on some type of risk and there isn't a guarantee. So if you have a hard time, everybody does at some point. So I would just say continue arbitrage betting, right? Also, what's your end goal? You got bills to pay. You want to take your family on vacation. You want to pay down your mortgage a little bit. dude, just arbitrage bet, make that money and just have that cash flow in, right? So I'm kind of being a big dog, big ego right now, but honestly, guys, figure out what is best for you, what works best for you, and just do that. Do that. What's the best for your mental state? What can you handle day in and day out? Because that's going to be the most important, right? I don't want you losing sleep, positive EV betting because, you don't want to be a chicken, right? Don't do that. Do what help. If you can lay your head down at night and rest peacefully, that's what it's all about. So figure out what strategy can allow you to do so, and then just do that. It's just that some people have a higher taste for risk. Some don't. It's not a bad, right or wrong thing. It's just what works best for you. Let's look at some strikeouts. I never forget Elf. This was like 2 years ago when he was first getting into it, and he was electric on his live streams. And I remember he got one-sided on an arb for like the first time, and his jaw just hit the floor, and he wasn't sure what to do. And I kind of got a good chuckle out of it because I was like, well, now you understand when it's like to take on some risk. DK Boost, I took Judge for today. There we go. Ohtani, Judge, homer, and parlay. Always love that. Yeah, Jared, we'll look to live bet this Cubs game. We're not going to be able to live bet the money line at all, but we'll look to live bet the spreads or the totals, the run line or the totals in this Cubs game. Right now it's 2 out, second and third, bottom fourth. Cubs might be pouring it on. Usually afternoon games at Wrigley Field, depending on the way the wind's blowing, can yield some good opportunities in terms of high runs, a lot of overs. So MLB team stats. This is one of my other favorite sites that I love to use. Teamrankings.com. Throw this in here. And so we're looking for, so why do I use this site? Okay. If we're being told to bet Jack Flaherty under 6.5 strikeouts and he's going up against the White Sox, well, I can tell you that the White Sox are pretty much mid. They're mid right here. You can see at the very bottom, they're ranked 16th. They're ranked 16th in striking out. This game is in Detroit. The top side's always on OddsJam, the top side is the away team. So if we're looking at teams that strike out the least and the most in Major League Baseball, where's the White Sox? There they are. White Sox are probably top 10, maybe top 8, striking out the most on the road this year. You can see their last 3 games, they're well above their normal average. So it's, divisional game. Flaherty's pitched for the Tigers all this year. So this is a great play over at Hard Rock because as you can see here, another reason why I love this play, Pinnacle, Bookmaker, Circa. Look at this price. They're all the same. FanDuel sees it at minus 144. But I would agree, this is a great price. It's over 20 cents off to all 4 of these sports books, if not more. That's a slam dunk play for me. This is where I would take the bet recommendation size and bet it. If not, bet a little bit more, right? Don't know why we got first half run lines. Maybe that's because I didn't do a good job with the strikeouts for the market. Yeah, this happens. There we go. Okay. Quinn Priester, Brewers Pirates. He used to be a Pirate. Now he's pitching against us. By the way, shout out to my Pirates. I'll never say this. Sweeping the Dodgers. Dodgers, you got your $3 trillion payroll. Still couldn't win a single game in Pittsburgh against my Pirates. How about that? Let's go Bucks. Skeen shuts them down yesterday. 6 innings, 2 hits, 8 Ks. Sweep the Dodgers. What a team LA has. Garbage. My trash Pirates just swept the Dodgers. Unreal. Kind of comes back to the beginning of the video here, guys. Sports betting is unpredictable. All right, Quinn Priester, over 4.5 strikeouts. My sharp books, Bookmaker, Circa, FanDuel are all aligned here. Pinnacle's a little bit off. When you click into the box, though, beautiful part about the EV tool, beautiful part about having the Platinum plan with OddsJam, you can see line movement. And betting player props, this really is a big game changer. So Pinnacle's been rising quite a bit. We zoom in here. You can see Pinnacle's moving up in price. Normally when a sharp sports book moves up in price, that's a big deal. That's something that I pay attention to, right? Like Circus Flatline, Bookmakers moved up a bit. You can see within the last hour. But FanDuel's chilling. So even though the Pirates do strike out quite a bit, they're at home. And the Pirates are like top 10 striking out at home. You know, I would be a little leery of this because Pinnacle's the book that has most recently moved their price. Oh, Irish, appreciate that. If it's wrong, then that's fine. At least we were able to go through an example of like how Pinnacle's move. But if Hard Rock's value is incorrect, totally understand. Soriano, A's and the Angels, the under 5.5. We talked about the hitting conditions in Los Angeles are very good. Very good for runs and home runs. So I don't mind this. Plus, the liquidity is only $108. So we're looking at the A's in terms of striking out on the road. And they go on, they're noted as Sacramento on team rankings. They're pretty much middle of the pack. They're middle of the pack. So if you want to take this under, Circa and FanDuel are aligned here. Not so much with Bookmaker. Again, you can click into these plays and you can see and look for line movement. FanDuel's chilling, Circa's chilling, Pinnacle's chilling, Bookmaker's chilling. So they're all kind of just chilling right now. So props builders moved a little bit. I would still, though, go after this under 5.5. I like that. So not much that I'm going to be able to wager on here when it comes to these plays. Kyle Freeland. This is probably, yeah, I mean, dude does not strike out a lot of guys. This is Bovada. FanDuel really likes this play. I'd love to see some movement. I don't see a lot. All the books are really just kind of stagnant at the moment in terms of their pricing. And so when we can see one book move in one direction, that would be really, really clutch. Really clutch. Last, Michael Wacha, under 4.5. There's about $500 liquidity here. But again, Circa and FanDuel are very similar in price. Bookmaker, not as much. The under 4.5. What do we got here? Anything? All right, so Pinnacle's moved up quite a bit. They were a bit of a favorite, a heavier favorite. They're not as heavy of a favorite. You can see it's kind of moved up and then it moved back down a little bit. But that's helpful to see with Pinnacle. And most of the time, you're going to see the most movement from Pinnacle when it comes to looking at these odds. In terms of the Twins, Minnesota, again, is pretty much dead smack average. So I don't mind going after the under 4.5 on Wacha on no vig. I'm cool with that. Let's take a look. Okay, one thing that I definitely want to mention. Hopefully you guys were in the Bull Rush competition. My competition, week 1, it started up. We had 135 people, which was awesome. It was a free entry. Hopefully you guys are in it. Shout out to 49er Faithful. He's currently in. I wanted to take just like a minute or two to explain the competition because there's going to be more competitions. Was it single round? There's going to be more competitions coming up, like my competition for college football week 3. It's a $5 entry fee over here at Bull Rush. Definitely check them out. I'm a big fan of them. We partnered up with them. I'm going to be running competitions all football season long, guys, over at Bull Rush. Got week 2 as well for NFL. That's going to be coming up. How this works, okay, you're going to come over here to register, and you're just going to sign up and join the competition, right? And 50% of the prize pool goes. So a $5 entry, $50 goes to first, $25 to second, $25 to third, right? Join the competition. And I'm in. I'm registered now, right? I might be the first one in for my NFL competition. But all you're going to do is place your picks, right? So basically how it works, guys, is that you enter a competition, right? You pay $5. You then get a virtual bankroll, virtual bankroll. You have to make 2 picks. Now, you have the entire slate of NFL games that you can choose from, and you only have to make 2 picks. So if you didn't make a pick last night on the Cowboys-Eagles game, that's fine. No problem. You have 2 picks. You can make 2 single straight wagers or a 2-leg parlay. The goal is to grow your $100,000 bankroll to the largest in the entire field. The one who grows their bankroll the largest, they win the competition. So this is where you can bet on player props. You can bet on money line spreads, first half, first quarters. You can bet a lot of different stuff over at Bull Rush, right? When we're looking at placing picks, and we're looking at the Commanders. Let's look at American football. Let's go to NFL. And let's go to Jets and the Steelers. They don't have anyone? Okay, maybe it's for next week. Oh, this is for week 2. So I'm looking at week 2 picks, right? I can look at picks. I can bet the point spread, money line, or over-unders, or I can go to more picks. So using OddsJam and finding plays. I don't have player props out yet because it's obviously week 2. But using OddsJam, you can find some really awesome opportunities here to place your picks. If you want to know who I went with Cam Ward under on his 31.5 pass attempts. I went with Josh Allen to not throw an interception. I used OddsJam's positive EV tool. I looked at the price that Bull Rush was offering compared to the price I was getting at OddsJam, and it was plus EV. So I made 2 plus EV bets over here for Josh Allen and Cam Ward. So it's a lot of fun. Very low risk, high reward. We're going to be running competitions all season long, guys, over here at Bull Rush. Let me go ahead and find where the heck the link is so I can send you guys over there. Let me go over my email here real quick, guys. And I can kind of throw that for you over there. But definitely wanted to mention to you guys about Bull Rush because it's a lot of fun, and it's something that I'm just going to be doing all season long. All right, let's see. There it is. All right, so if you guys want to join it up, there it is. There it is. But hopefully you guys joined, and looking forward to seeing you guys hopefully take home some winners. All right, so let's go over to the sportsbook screen. Let's look at the live betting opportunities here for Major League Baseball with the Cubs game, okay? So there's a couple ways we could do this. First off, I'm not going to look at the money line play because it's pretty much dead, right? But if I'm looking to bet the game, I'm looking to bet the over-unders right here. You can see I got like FanDuel, Pinnacle, DraftKings, Hard Rock, Fanatics, No Vig, Caesars. And what I'm looking for here is if you're looking to live bet the total runs, right? Baseball, it's a little different than the NFL. But we obviously want to be getting a really good price if we're looking to live bet on FanDuel. Okay, so if Pinnacle has this at minus 104 on the over, minus 122 on the under, minus 110 over at MGM and Fanatics is not bad, but I'd rather bet this over at Caesars. Now, Pinnacle just changed their odds to under 14. This under 14.5 might be decent over at Caesars. Minus 105. FanDuel's at minus 118. This is 13 cents off over at Caesars. Like, yeah, I might want to bet that. The other way that you could do this is you just go over to the EV tool. You come over to your filters, okay? And I'm just going to go and say, I just want to bet main markets. I want to bet Major League Baseball. D-Vig, I want to D-Vig to Pinnacle because they're goated. I'll use worst case. And then sports books, right? Maybe I just want to go after a couple of sports books, right? Maybe I just want to go after Fanatics, and I want to go after maybe Onyx because maybe my DraftKings is limited, but I can use Onyx. ESPN bet, right? Let's go show results. Then we just come over to live. And then I just click the play button. I click the play button right here. And then I'm just chilling. Now, obviously, there's only one baseball game. But you can see the under 14.5 is a 2.5% edge over at Caesars. So, hey, I want to bet this. I don't want to bet it, though. You can see this pops up in the bottom right-hand corner here, guys. So if I want to grab this, it's minus 126. It's now minus 102. It's minus 105. Oh, plus odds over here on DraftKings. This could be decent, right? So live betting moves really fast. But if I can get this over at MGM right now, like I'm in. So let me go ahead and log into MGM because getting this at plus odds looks really good. If I wanted to follow this a bit closely, I could just say, let me pull this back up again, guys. 1 second because I got my desktop up. Where to go? There it is. If I want to come back over the sportsbook screen, guys, I prefer the sportsbook screen sometimes because I think it's a little quicker. I just think personally it's quicker. Looking at this at plus, you can see this is way off. This is way off to FanDuel. I'd bet this at BetMGM all day long. So I'm going to rush over to BetMGM and try to bet this under right now. FanDuel's at minus 136. Oh, see, I'm too slow. But this was at plus 105. This is massively off to FanDuel over at BetMGM, right? So that would be a play that I definitely wanted to smash on that under. So, because I'm not logged into the books, I'm not prepared, I'm reactive instead of being proactive. That's what kind of happens. But I will flash this back up because you never know when it comes to MGM and Caesars is a very good time when it comes to betting baseball. Where the hell's the games at? I'm waiting for MGM to flash. But we'll see if this comes back, right? Because you can see here, Pinnacle's at under 14. It's hard to, they're obviously the same as DraftKings. But this is where you're going to want to lean into some other books. And leaning into some other books is going to be a really good time. Everything just changed now. It's now under 13.5, right? There we go, Irish. I mean, that's a good play because if the books moved to 13.5, now you got a really good price. I don't know if anyone else is on MGM, but it's incredibly slow right now. I really prefer betting MGM on my phone compared to the desktop. So at the moment, there isn't much value here for me because maybe betting this again over at Caesars would be the play because I like this compared to FanDuel. I think FanDuel can be very sharp when it comes to baseball at times. I don't know if I'll still be able to get this anymore, but I would love to. No, I wanted it at minus 125. And now because they went to the sixth inning. So minus 145 isn't good anymore. But again, these are little things that we can kind of do. I'll look at the under 13.5 on Caesars just to see. It's at plus 112. Not good enough. Not good enough. But anyways, it's live betting baseball. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Some other things I definitely want to say. Mookie, doesn't AZ blow now? Not really. No. I mean, you ever lived in like Arkansas or like Vermont where they got like 2 sports books, or like Montana or Wyoming? Bro, like it's still a really good time in Arizona. You got Fanatics, you got Bet365, you got Hard Rock. I mean, yeah, it's not as good with the exchanges, but I still have Sport Trade and 4CX, which are exchanges. So, I mean, it's definitely not as good as it used to be, but compared to a lot of other states in America, it's heads and shoulders better. Plus DFS. Underdog PrizePicks, in Pennsylvania, while we do have the exchanges, which I would lean a little bit Pennsylvania, having access to the exchange, to DFS is huge. Because sometimes on these DFS books, right, you can have like on parlay play, dude, I mean, I cashed this bad boy yesterday, $540. Can't play DFS in Pennsylvania. I can though over here in Arizona. So it's not as good, but I'm still interested in it for sure. No doubt about that. Rick, tomorrow it's going to be 11 a.m. Eastern. So Saturdays and Sundays are going to be 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific for college football and NFL betting. So we're going to be really focused on football tomorrow. And we'll look at some football plays today because we're closing on an hour. I'm going to go beyond that, though, because we're having a really good time. So let's take a look at a couple other things that I want to make sure we highlight. Cannot stress this enough, guys, that right now over here on Edge Zone, I want to make sure I give a shout out to the guys over at Edge Zone. Our Father Arbologist are pumping out different plays on their Discord channel. I know that Irish is in here. They got the Edge Matrix right here, guys, where we're looking at some really, really, really good stuff, right? This is 2 plays that they're giving out right here on Chris Sale, under on his Ks, Pablo Lopez over on his Ks, a couple of really high edge plays. Edge Zone's really cool. I'm in on it. The game zone is awesome, right? You can see that when we come all the way to the bottom here, I got to make sure I get the most present play. Top play right here is Jacksonville State plus 7.5 over at Novig. They're saying this is about a 5% edge. The big thing here with this map is you're looking at Pinnacle, and when Pinnacle either raises their limit, meaning they're going to take more money, sometimes the odds go, but you can see they went from minus 143 down to minus 156 within the last 3 hours. So Jacksonville State at plus 7.5 looks to be, and this is a very key number too, at plus 7.5. Big fan of Edge Zone. And their Matrix guys, this is where when I showed you guys the Matrix earlier, this is where you're going to get access to it if you guys want to try it out. Edge Zone Matrix, I'm a big fan of it. I think you're going to have a really good time. Check it out. I'll throw in the link right here if you guys want to try it out. Yep, Irish, no doubt about it. There it is. If you guys want to check out Edge Zone, you're going to get access to, Saul Covers, one of the best guys in terms of WNBA. He just dropped some picks this morning because he's not in America. He's outside the country. He's got some good picks here. Arbologist got some really good picks here. He's telling you guys what's going on. If you think that he's a sharp bettor, check out Arbologist. We're taking Lopez over 4.5 hits. So I'd highly recommend checking out Edge Zone. Really, really solid Discord. Really, really like them. What do we got here? Plus 13, under 13.5. No, not yet. Not yet. I'm just going to kind of wait and chill on this one and see what happens. All right, let's go back over to the EV tool. Let's look at some Chiefs-Chargers plays tonight. Under 7.5 in this Rays game. Honestly, This is good to Pinnacle, right? Pinnacle's taking $7,500. It's 9 cents off. It's just that there's the weather conditions. Oh, the weather conditions. I'm a little nervous about this play. But Pinnacle's dropped off a cliff here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. This is a big deal right here. Pinnacle's been dropping plus 108 all the way down now to minus 107. I might do a small sprinkle on this play. Might be $100 over here. Where are we at with this? Where's my FanDuel? I got too many screens pulled up. Let me come over here to FanDuel. I'm slightly interested in this. Oh, went to 100 now? No, I'm not as interested. Plus 102 I was, not at plus 100. Not no more. Not anymore. Okay, let's look at some Chiefs-Chargers plays for tonight. Let's go to select all the books, and let's go to and take a look. Yeah, Irish, they got some really good contributors in there. No doubt about that. No doubt. We'll take a look at all the market. I'm not really in on alternate markets. Just in general, I'm just not really an alternate market guy. And we're looking for date range today. Obviously, guys, there's only one game that's going on today. So there's just one. So it's pretty simple for the NFL. Patty Mahomes, over 35.5 passing attempts, Onyx or DraftKings. Okay, so let's dive into this because this is a play here that Pinnacle is the only book that thinks it should be at minus 121. You know, the bookmakers, the FanDuels of the world don't agree with this. But let's see what happened. Let me remove props builder as well. What's going on here? And what's going on right now, as you can see, Pinnacle's moving a little bit. They started at minus 115 54 minutes ago when they dropped their odds. Guys, sharps are betting into this. They moved it 6 cents. Because they moved this 6 cents, I'm a little bit more interested in taking this play. To provide some context on Bookmaker, when I go over to Bookmaker, and I like betting into Bookmaker, it's a really nice offshore book. When I pull up props for the NFL, and I'm looking at this Charger game, and I type in Mahomes, and I can't share the screen over here, guys, but I can tell you that on his passing attempts, they're taking about $1,000 right now over on Bookmaker. But Pinnacle's moving. I don't mind that they're moving. So if we can grab this over here on Onyx, I'm interested in this Patty Mahomes play. So let me take a look. DraftKings, Onyx. I'm going to log into Onyx here on my phone. Again, guys, if you haven't signed up with Onyx yet, I'll make sure to throw this in the screen. You tail this play for $10, you're going to get $100 in bonus bets. So it's a really, really, really good deal that they have going on. I'm sure most of you guys are in with Onyx already, but if you're not, I'll throw this link in here as well because it's a great book. Copies DraftKings. Matt, it depends on your risk tolerance. You're going to run into way more variance when it comes to two-leg parlays that are plus EV. So for account health, I think you're better off running parlays, but if you want guaranteed profits, then I would go with arbitrage. It's a good question. All right, so let's pull this up. We're looking at Mahomes over 35.5 at minus 101. Try to keep it as transparent and honest with you guys as possible. So waiting for this to load. There we go. All right, well, where's the passing attempts? Here we go. And you just got to type the down arrow here, guys, and you'll see the over 35.5. Minus 101. I think I only have like $79 in the account, so that's what I'll bet. Okay, there we are. We're in with Mahomes. Over 35.5 passing attempts tonight for $79. Maybe I just got to make another deposit over there on Onyx. Like to see that Pinnacle move just a little bit. Gives me a little more confidence. Another book that I like, Bet Openly. Dude, Bet Openly is a solid book. And right here for Ladd McConkey, under on his receiving yards. Again, Pinnacle's moved within the last hour. Take a screenshot of this. This is what you want to see when you're betting from a book. So I'm going to quickly run over to Bet Openly. Been making money over there being the house on parlays. It's been a great time being the house and with parlays. So let me log in. So McConkey under 72.5 receiving yards. Just got a text because if you guys beat me, please beat me to this. I want you guys to get this action in because I'm grabbing it all. I'm going to grab it all and bet openly. So over here, you're going to see just receiving yards for the Chargers. And you're just going to click the arrow. And here it is. That's 71.5. I don't want that. I want 72.5. Take the bet, max bet. Let's go. There we go. So I'm in for what? I'm in for $34.08. Okay. $34.08. Got a good price. At minus 104, which is really good. So if I win this bet, that's how Bet Openly gets paid, guys. They're like ProfitX. They take a small commission. So I'm probably getting paid out like minus 107 odds is what I would say. So we'll just change this to minus 107. But that's a really good price on McConkey. Love that. Love that. That's great. Or maybe they're saying, maybe OddsJam's saying minus 105 because they're calculating it automatically for me. But I definitely like that. So if we refresh this page, McConkey over 5.5 receptions. There is a world where my man gets, 6 catches for 70 yards. That can happen. ProfitX and No Vig. I mean, this looks really good to Pinnacle. Not bad to Bookmaker. And, I would rather bet this guy's at No Vig because No Vig doesn't always take a processing fee like ProfitX does. So I'd prefer No Vig first over ProfitX if you could go one or the other. Herbert on his passing yards. There's only $13 here, but it's a fairly good price. But it's, again, only $13. Again, though, if I wanted to, I could go over like 4CX, which is an exchange, and I could try to create a market where maybe I get odds that are similar to this or at plus 100, right? So this is something like if I really believe in Justin Herbert's passing yards, again, if you're like me and I don't have access to ProfitX, I can go over to 4CX, which is an exchange, and I can create a price that I want the over at plus 100 odds. I offer the under at plus 100 odds, which is the best odds around, and I get my order filled. These are different ways, if you have access to the exchanges, that you can utilize these, right? So different things. Yeah, Rick, I mean, Bookmaker in general is pretty sharp, right? And they're definitely a good book to just kind of go after and use. Looks like that Cubs game, 2 runs were scored by the Nationals, so it's not ideal here. 2 runs in the 6th inning. And now we got a runner at third with 1 out, so that looks like that could be another run. Yeah, they just pushed it home, so now it's 8-5. So, yeah, the under 14.5, not looking ideal right now. Not looking ideal. But, again, sports is unpredictable. One run could be scored the rest of the way home, and you cash this. Dang, I'm really out of breath. That was incredible. Yeah, guys, I got to take a break. Maybe go grab a late lunch because it's 1 o'clock out here in Arizona. Grab a late lunch, but hopefully you guys found some value in the streams. Questions, email me, DM me. Subscribe to the channel if you think this helps, and if you think that some of your friends that don't win money sports betting could benefit from this, send them my way. Subscribe to the channel. I'm back on tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Going to be doing it all college football. It's going to be all college football. We're going to be really focused on that. We'll take a little peek at baseball, maybe a little NFL as well. Guys, have an awesome Friday, and if nothing else, I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Take care.